Across the many sci-fi stories and works, especially those that focus on interstellar travel and vast human empires that rule the stars, space battles, which includes voidships and massive warships, are kind of a given. Be it Star Wars, Star Trek, 40K, Babylon 5, Halo, and etc. These stories are always shaped by awesome space battles between spacecrafts from opposing factions. But there is one universe where, even with massive interstellar domains and also warships at their disposal, there is hardly any space warfare at all. This is Dune, an anomaly of sci-fi by Frank Herbert, which still somehow became one of the most famous works ever. So why are there no massive space battles in Dune? Or are there, and we don't know about them? So here in this video, we will explore in depth about this and explain why void warfare is seldom seen here in this setting, and also show you the instances when it does. Now let's get to it. So in the world of Dune, space travel changed a lot over time and was super important for how humans spread across the universe. At first, people used slower, conventional, faster than light ships that still took weeks or months to go between stars, like traveling over 100 light years in about a month, which is super fast, incredibly fast, but still not instant. Later, a huge breakthrough came with space folding, which was a method that used the Holtzman effect to bend space. So now ships could jump instantly from one place to another in the blink of an eye. This made travel much faster, but then it is also very dangerous at first, since many ships were lost. It was like 1 in 10 never making the trip. So to fix that, a spacing guild was formed, and they trained special pilots called navigators to use the spice melange, which was a chemical, a drug here in this universe, to let them see possible futures and guide ships safely through folded space. So for millennia, this guild would end up controlling all interstellar travel because only they could do this safely and instantly, with also them having the highliner ships that made this possible. But even so, many ships still kept the older drives as backup or to travel between planets in the same star system, since space folding, while fast, instant, was never completely safe and also hugely expensive. Now on a side note, we should first know about the power structure of this setting. In this universe, power is highly spread out. There is the Imperial House Corino with their vast Sardaukar legions which rule the known universe as the effective royal family. Then there are the Landsrat, which consists of many great and lesser houses, each house ruling over their own vast domains and star systems. Each great house has its own smaller fleet with ships like transports, frigates and cruisers that they use for war, trade and moving troops, but they usually rely on the spacing guild to actually travel between planets. The most common warship here in this setting is the attack frigate, which is huge and can carry thousands of soldiers, and all houses, including House Corino, has them. They also have the bigger ships called the monitors, which are even more powerful with heavy armor and shielding. But they're also so large that they have to split into sections just to take off and land on a planet. There's the Imperial fleet controlled by House Corino, which was built after the Balerian Jihad to keep order across the Imperium and fight large-scale wars. But because shields not only make ships almost immune to attacks but also stop them from firing weapons, space battles and orbital bombardments are actually really rare, and fighting usually happens on the ground instead. Overall, fleets in Dune are less about flashy space combat and more about transporting massive armies into the ground and controlling who can move across the galaxy and who are grounded in their own systems. So the early Dune books, the first 3, don't have any space battles at all, mainly because of how the universe is set up here, both technologically and politically. First, defensive shields, which are created out of the Holtzman effect, makes ships almost impossible to damage from a distance by projectiles, but they also stop the ships from firing their own weapons while the shields are active. So big space fights become impractical and risky. Secondly, they do in fact have laser weapons and las cannons as ranged weaponry, but there is an atomic explosion if any such laser hits the Holtzman shield. Such an explosion is acknowledged effectively as using atomics against an adversary. This is banned by the Great Convention, which dictates that every other house would obliterate the one house that crosses that line and uses atomics, including exploding the Holtzman shield with a laser weapon. Thus, with that even out of the way, there is no effective way to engage in a space battle. Thirdly, all interstellar travel was controlled by the Spacing Guild, which refuses to allow battles in space because it would threaten their ships and their monopoly. And also they kinda take space as their own domain. And so if you want to move your fleet around, you have to follow their rules or use the slower FTL drives of the ancient past. Lastly, space travel itself is extremely expensive and no one wants to risk losing entire fleets in combat when they can just land troops and fight on the ground instead. Because of this, wars in Dune are more like controlled invasions where armies are transported safely to a planet and then they fight using strategy, politics and close combat. But there were a few space battles that many don't realize, and we'll get there in a minute. But before we go there, we have to address the elephant in the room first, the Spacing Guild. Here, control of space travel shapes almost everything that happens. The Spacing Guild has almost always had total power over interstellar travel because only their navigators, who are mutated humans who depend on the spice melange to survive and see the future, were the only ones who can get people instantly from one place to another. Only they were able to guide ships safely through folded space. Thus, no one can move armies or goods without their permission, without the Spacing Guild. This control lets powerful groups manipulate events, like when Baron Vladimir Harkonnen secretly paid the guild to allow his forces and the Empress elite Sardaukar troops to travel to Arrakis and launch a surprise attack on House Atreides while they were stuck on the ground. Later, Paul Atreides realizes that the guild is completely dependent on spice, and since spice only comes from Arrakis, he gains massive power by controlling it. This lets him threaten the guild and move his armies freely, leading to his huge jihad across the universe that destroys many worlds and kills billions, like 61 billion killed and 90 planets razed or devastated. Even further in the storyline, leader to Atreides, the God Emperor, takes total control of Arrakis and the spice supply, which means he also controlled the guild itself, since without spice the navigators can't function at all. Because of this, whoever controls Arrakis doesn't just rule a planet, they basically control all space travel and thus they control the Imperium. In the later Heretics of Dune era, everything about space travel starts to change in a big way after the death of leader to Atreides. For thousands of years, the Spacing Guild controlled all travel because of their navigators who needed spice to guide ships. But Leader II, the God Emperor, secretly planned to break that system. By controlling and then removing the natural supply of spice on Arrakis, he forced other groups to find new solutions. The Bene Tleilax worked on creating synthetic spice, which is something that they had struggled with before in projects like Project Amal, which mostly failed at first but then they later improved. At the same time, the Ixians developed navigation machines that could guide ships through folded space without the need of navigators or spice at all. These machines weren't as perfect as human navigators, they were seen as a little bit less reliable, but they were still good enough to break the guild's monopoly. Because of this, after Leader II's death, humanity was finally free to travel without being controlled by a single group, the Spacing Guild. This led to a huge expansion across the universe, which is called the Scattering. So in the later Dune universe, especially after the Scattering and into the time of Heretics of Dune and Chapter House Dune, the introduction of no ships changed everything and even brought back real space battles. No ships were these special starships that were completely hidden from prescience, meaning even powerful seers like the Guild Navigators or descendants of Paul Atreides can't detect them. This makes them perfect for secret travel, surprise attacks, and escaping into unknown space, which is exactly what many people did during the Scattering. Unlike older ships, no ships don't need navigators because they have advanced machines to guide them, which also ties to the growing use of technology after the fall of Leader II. As these ships became more common, especially during the rise of the Honored Matre, they started being used not just for hiding, but for war. Planets could hide no ships in orbit as invisible defenses, making it almost impossible for enemies to predict or detect them. Some no ships were even turned into massive warships or fortress ships, big enough to carry entire ecosystems including sandworms inside of them. Because these ships could hide, move freely and fight without being detected and predicted, they brought back the possibility of space combat in this universe, something that was rare in earlier times. With no ships, battles in space became more practical again, since enemies could no longer rely on prescience or the guild control to avoid or to limit conflict, leading to a more chaotic and dangerous galaxy. In the later Heretics of Dune and Chapter House Dune, space warfare becomes finally brutal and destructive again, especially with the introduction of the terrifying super weapon simply called the Weapon. This was used by the honored Matre and were originally created by the mysterious Ones of Many Faces. This starship-launched missile could ignite entire atmospheres and wipe out planets. Its most shocking use was the destruction of Arrakis, also known as Arrakis later on, where the Matre launched these heat-based weapons from space, from orbit, causing the sky itself to catch fire and turning much of the planet's surface into glass, killing almost all life, including the sandworms and the heroic Miles Tegg. Around the same time, another devastating attack happened at Lampadas. Despite defenses, the honored Matre destroyed the planet so completely that only one survivor escaped, and thus carrying the shared memories of all the others. These attacks showed how space combat had evolved from careful limited conflict into full-scale planetary annihilation. This trend continued in the Battle of Junction, where fleets openly clashed using advanced ships like the no-ships and devastating weapons, including las cannons and las guns, atomics and all. So here in this battle, Miles Tegg, now a Gola or a clone, led a powerful assault and even used his unique ability to see no ships to gain an advantage, making space warfare more strategic and intense than ever before. So if you're wondering why you never saw any space action in the movie adaptations, that's because of both strict rules here in this universe and powerful control over space travel and spies. So long ago, in a nutshell, big battles like the Battle of Corinth used deadly atomics, but after that, the great houses agreed on rules called the Great Convention, which banned the use of atomics on humans and set limits on warfare. At the same time, in a nutshell, the Spacing Guild gained total control over all interstellar travel, which meant that no house could move ships or fight in space without the Guild's approval. If anyone attacked the Guild ship or broke the rules, they would be stranded and be cut off from all space travel, which would destroy them completely. Because of this, wars happen mostly on planets and not in space. There are still ways to attack from orbit, like dropping massive crushers, which were giant chunks of welded ships into targets, but these were rare and expensive, and I doubt that the Guild will allow space to be used for that kind of warfare, as they don't even allow satellites to be put in orbit around a planet to spy on the opposing factions. But as you saw, this all changed gradually by the time of the God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune and Chapter House Dune. By this time, synthetic spies, navigation machines and the no-ships, as well as the dissolution of the Great Convention, made space battles and the use of super weapons a reality again. So we kinda saw a little bit of space action at the end of this saga. Anyway, with that we come to the end of this video. Now, do hit the like button if you support us, and also for the ones holding their phones in their hands, well, if you see a hype option, a hype button, do push it. It won't destroy Arrakis or anything, but it might push this content further. Also subscribe to be a part of Legion Nutbug, and till the next time, take care, boys.